interesting stuff, and therefore boost your productivity and your smartness in your client's eyes and or your stakeholders or whatever. So everything is fine. It just will trying to save you some time, and make your life easier. Okay. So why sfdx-hardis? sfdx-hardis is a fully open source tool with many contributors all around the world. It's not only for documenting, it also provides a CI/CD, can back up your metadata, monitor Salesforce organization. Well, not today. Apparently something is broken today. I'm very lucky because today I'm presenting to you, right? Don't be harsh. And of course, documenting your org. Before we start, I must tell you that as it's open source, it's absolutely free, and you are very welcome to join as a contributor, or even more, your suggestions, your questions and comments are also very, very welcomed for this tool to be improved and implemented in a better way. All right. So we'll start, and the next slide is the Nicolas Villamy. He is the creator of this tool and CTO of the Cloudity and the owner of guinea pigs, which you can see on his shirt over here. They are hidden, but they are there. So he created this tool and did the main of the job for documenting everything. If I'm not mistaken, it all started with visualizing the flow differences using the Mermaid.js. I will also explain it to you later, but just a little bit of the spoiler. And that's it. He's very humble, and I know he would hate that I presented this whole slide for him, but I had to do that. Yeah. All right. So it's not only Nicolas Villamy. As I said, I joined the contributors group this spring. It's only the team of people who were working on documentation generation. As you can see, we are here all across the world. Guys develop multiple LLM integrations, PDF generation, and LWC DocGen. Very cool guys, by the way. And as I said, you're very welcomed. And if you always wanted to try yourself in open source, and by chance you are from here or from here, consider this as your sign, please. All right. We have to cover this map. All right. So today, the agenda today will be, I will present to you very funny, very fictional use case with funny images. So it won't be as simple, plain and boring as your usual technical meetings, which you probably had a lot today and might be bored with that or tired. And also then we'll go through the requirements of what needed for it, maybe couple boring slides, no worries about that. And then we'll switch to demo, which hopefully will be working good, praying to the demo god. I will walk with you through what has to be set up to have sfdx-hardis working and generating documentation. And we'll play with it a little bit in my developers org. I'll show you how it's working, where you can host it, etc. In the end, as Roman just said, you will be able to post some questions. Hopefully, I will be able to answer all of them. If not, I prepared a form for you. I've already shared a link to it in the chat. And in the end of this presentation, there will be a QR code that links to this form. At this form, you will be able to leave your questions and your contact details, so I could reach back to you via email or in the LinkedIn, whatever is convenient for you, and be back to you with the answer. So today I'll try to be as much useful as possible to you. Okay. So the use case, we will be working today with Baptiste and Victor. So if you only read the first post that Roman posted about this meetup, you probably have read that there will be Mariia and her crew. So this is my crew. These lovely pigs are not fully fictional. They are actual guinea pigs of Nicolas, and they take part in every presentation and sometimes every conference, not only on his shirt, on the pins, but also in the presentation. So please be nice to them today. Yes. So the idea is to Victor and Baptiste. They will be our role plays. They decided to open their own company, Cloud Piggies. Baptiste is business analyst. Victor is developer, and yep, in the company they will use sfdx-hardis. That's for future. So Victor and Baptiste, as I said, real guinea pigs, but now they are not named after the best contributors to the sfdx-hardis, unfortunately, but that would be lovely. And apparently there will be one named Roman, of course. So here I'll switch to the next slide. And so Baptiste and Victor started their own company, and they've got their new client, Guinea Pig Talent Agency. I told you it won't be boring, won't be technical, etc. So the Guinea Pig Talent Agency, super cool project with lovely pigs, lovely pictures. But one problem that this project is quite old. It's like many years old project, and it has a lot of legacy code. Yeah, so how to deal with that? There is no documentation, and they have very close deadlines. What should they do? Is they decided to use sfdx-hardis and Agentforce, first of all, to document the org, explain everything to themselves, and then help their client, obviously, and the client of their clients to work in a proper way. So as you can read, we will be using XML, because sfdx-hardis mostly works with XML, and we'll post it to the LLM, and we'll get anything described in a human readable way, which you will be able to customize and simply provide the best documentation for your clients. So we'll try from examples. Object model. I know a lot of you used schema builder in Salesforce, and I know it's pretty ugly. I don't like it. So with sfdx-hardis, you can have a lovely schema of the object, of where the object is used, its roles in Salesforce, its related, its fields explained, even with descriptions. So you don't need to delete this object to actually see where it is used. That's the good news. I love that. Okay, the next example, and what I love the most, is flows. I believe a lot of you have in their systems like big octopus flows, which no one knows how they are working. It's just a bunch of error and boxes. No one knows how it's working. The guy who created and maintained it, he probably quit already, maybe because of the flow. And the name of the flow probably will be final version 3 or something like that. And here you can use this tool to simply explain it. It takes the XML of the flow, its name and data, posts, and brings back to you a human readable understanding along with this lovely diagram, which looks so much better than the flow. It's built using Mermaid.js, by the way. The flow difference. So it's not only explaining and describing the flow as it is, but also shows the difference of the flow, like what was changed in it, because it's really difficult to understand it using just the metadata file of the flow, right? You simply will see in your pull request, all you will see is the node changes and then sometimes the changes. So here you have, you're welcome. In the blue, it's something that was changed. In green, something that was added, and in red, something that was removed from the flow. All right. The code. You can easily describe Apex classes, Aura components, and LWC components. LWC components are getting documented using JSDoc, by the way. And in Apex classes, you can also see the relationships of these Apex classes, where it is used and where it is referenced as well. I will show it to you in the demo. Installed packages, absolutely sweet thing of these. If you will open XML document, XML file of your package, you won't see much except for this version and maybe sometimes name, not always. So with sfdx-hardis, it takes the data of it takes the information of the installed packages, builds a decent documentation along with a link to the official documentation of that package if that's present, if that present, and where and how it is used across your org. So pretty cool. Also automations like approval processes, assignment rule, forecasting types, which was, by the way, designed by me and implemented. I'm also very humble. So here you can see the permission sets being documented, profiles, automations. You can see where they are used, user permissions, field permissions, object, like everything brought to you beautifully. And what's most important, it's all in one place. So it's not, you won't be looking for it in Slack, in the Confluence, somewhere in Jira, in someone's brains, maybe. You won't be chasing your colleagues who quit and only they know how it works. So, and many more of that. Also lightning pages that I hasn't mentioned, escalation rules, authorization, which is absolutely brilliant, profiles, auto response rules, which you'll be able to see in the demo a couple of minutes later. Now about multilingualism. Yesterday we had a dry run with Roman. He asked, is that possible to have the site, have the documentation described in another language? Yes, it is possible. French, German, anything you want apart from the English. If you have your foreign colleagues or foreign clients, no need for additional configuration, just a couple of variables explained, that's it. Custom prompts, just in case you are not fully satisfied with the way that sfdx-hardis works and what it brings back in the AI description, you can know your AI model how to describe your XML on your own by simply overriding the prompt. In this case, you can say, like, explain to me like it's 5 years old, especially when you have your colleagues like Baptiste here, who's the business analyst, who does not understand the code, the XML, and they may not understand technical parts of it. You can ask your AI model to explain it to you like they are 5 years old. That's it. And customized documentation, of course, documenting Apex with objects model and their fields, their references and relationships. It's not all about documentation. Obviously, in order to understand the business purpose, business model, you might need something more to be there. You might even add the photos of you dancing at some conferences. As you can see, anything to make people read, use, and maintain documentation. Yeah, that's what good developers do. So you can customize some theme, icons, add your own generated pages, update the pages. You can override the AI generated description into your own. That's what I will try to do today at the demo. Okay, now about the requirements, a little bit boring part, but how can you start? First of all, you have to have an Agentforce enabled at your org, and it should be the default org, obviously. You can use Salesforce Foundations. I believe it gives you like 200,000 in Einstein prompts for free. I'm using it for my developers org. If your org is super old, you might need to create a new one to be able to enable the Agentforce there. So, as I said, you might need an access to LLM. In this demo, in this example, we'll be explaining how to use Agentforce with Salesforce Foundations, but you also might use any other LLM. This was also designed and implemented by one of contributor, and your Salesforce organization metadata. You will need that to be retrieved into your project before started document generation. You can use Salesforce CLI, Illuminated Cloud, or sfdx-hardis monitoring, which I highly recommend, but might be not today. Tomorrow after the bug will be fixed. Okay. About the LLM, Roman also yesterday had a question. It is possible with sfdx-hardis. I believe it uses LangChain, which provides a user interface to use multiple different AI models. All you will need to specify is your key, the name, and some extra setup. But everything is available in the documentation. It's very easily, very human readable, understandable. When I started contributing, I barely asked any questions. You can ask Nicolas, so everything was beautifully explained. So how to generate the documentation? I will be showing you in the demo, but right now just some slides, okay, to make a preview for you. First of all, you obviously will need your project set up in the Visual Studio Code, your metadata retrieved, and the sfdx-hardis plugin installed to your Visual Code. That's it. Later, you will see you will have to add the prompt in the prompt builders that sfdx-hardis will be using to pass the data to the LLM, and make a couple of clicks. Then you will be able to see your documentation generated in docs folder, and you will be able to publish it in any possible way you would like, or your clients as stakeholders like. How you can do that? You can run it locally. You will need Python on your computer to do that. So you will see in your tab in it, you can host it in the Salesforce in the separate tab. The algorithm how to do that is also explained in the documentation, and you can host it on the Cloudflare. Cloudflare provide a free tier for, I believe, 50 users or something like that. It's also very convenient way to host it. You can set up this language of your site as well as your documentation language, and you can generate it as PDF. Yep. So it's demo time, but before we proceed, is there any questions or something like that that I have to stop feedback to?
Yes, Mariia, there are already some very good questions. Potentially, it's a good point to answer them. So John was asking, actually, when you're creating a documentation, it uses the records of the org to understand, or only the metadata?
The metadata.
Yes, right. So there's no connection to the actual org in terms of querying real records. Could be actually pretty nice, right? So yeah, John, hopefully this answers your question. Feel free to do a contribution so that we can also ask the data. That would be nice. So Andre was asking, should I have both enabled, Agentforce and another LLM, in order to get it up and running? Or is it actually I can use, yeah, right? You can use Agentforce and or OpenAPI or OpenAI or whatever you want, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, cool. Eduardo was requesting actually that we also show how to connect to a Salesforce instance. I'm not sure if this is part of the demo. However, I'm very sure Eduardo.
I will walk you through this. I will walk you through this setup.
Okay, great.
Not
Wow, cool.
Connecting, but I'll explain it to you shortly.
Okay, awesome. And then Ami was asking in the Q&A, does it work for integrations as well? So connected app information, any other kind of integration with external apps or other Salesforce orgs?
No, as far as I know, only for installed packages. That's not most of the integration, but that's only it.
I think right now it has to be part of the metadata which has been downloaded locally, right? So whenever it is part of that, it tries to document it well. If it is not part of that, it will not work at the moment.
If you have an Apex class that makes a connection to it, maybe,
yeah, cool.
Yes, yeah. And that's how it can explain a little bit, but not the actual integration.
Okay, cool. Good. So Mariia and the other participants here, I suggest that you just proceed. I will continue collecting the other questions. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, I just needed some rest. All right, and all right. So now the demo. Okay, the most beautiful part. So let's close this down. As I said, I have my project set up, but that's not where we start. That's not where we start. First, we will start with the setup, how to connect. So you will have your project in your Visual Studio Code. You will have your sfdx-hardis plugin installed to it. All right. Now, on the setup side, you'll have to have a prompt designed in the prompt builder. All the information on how to do that, simple couple of clicks and copy paste this would be enough to put that prompt into the system. As I said, this is the prompt that sfdx-hardis will be using to post the metadata and get back the results. Besides from that, on your organization, that's it. All other magic will be done in the Visual Studio Code. And over here, there is some file where we will post our parameters on how you can configure what will be documented, how it will be documented, etc. The language even. So as part of the documentation, there are many variables like these. You can find them in the documentation as well, where you can simply stop from documenting a certain part of metadata like Apex, exclude from documenting, maybe saving your prompts for something special, automations, pages, packages installed, some profiles, which also include permission sets, profiles, etc. Objects model, etc. You can also stop AI in your prompts. If you will stop it and regenerate your documentation, you will have your documentation, but without this beautiful AI description. You can choose also in this file. You can configure what AI provider you will be using by putting here your API key there, the name and other parameters, the language as well. So that's pretty simple for me. So far, I'll show you the plugin. There is a documentation generation part over here, apart from many other brilliant features. And all you have to do is do a couple of clicks, as it was written in the descriptions for this meetup. Right now, I will run a project documentation with PDF. It will start. I tried to rehearse it before it, so you can see the results, but it will start from scratch. And as there could be a lot of data to work on, it might take a while. So meanwhile, I will take this chance to go back to my browser, and over here, we'll see the documentation of internal project of Cloudity. Cloudity is the company where Nicolas is working, and he kindly provided me, and he kindly allowed me use this in my demo as well. So as I already told you, you can customize your documentation anyhow you want. So a couple hours before this meetup, I designed this image, and Nicolas helped me post it here. Thank him very much for that. And what's interesting, I wanted to show you that's how it looks. You will see that in the documentation that will be generated a couple of minutes later. But what I'll show you is, let's say, approval processes. That's how it looks. And in case you have some sensitive data that might appear through the questions in the end, in case you have some sensitive data in your organization, you can mark it as such, and it won't be visible in the documentation, any kind of, like, not the PDF, not the one hosted on Cloudflare, anywhere. That's a good news. But well, for any case, I strongly advise you don't to hard code credentials, tokens, API keys, maybe in your flows, etc. Like, just a piece of advice, not in scope of documenting. Some flows I wanted to show you here, because the real project has a lot of flows. The beautiful mermaid diagram looks so much better than the octopus flows that you can have, and the AI generated descriptions for it, with each and every flow node detail explained to you. So it's not that you will go to that flow and will be clicking it one by one, trying to understand what's going on there. But the cherry on the top for it is the history. You can check the history for the flow and see what was done at which time per which commit. For that, you will have to have your Git repository set up. But as I said, something removed is in red, added is in green, updated is in blue, and you will be able to see who's guilty. Because there are a lot of times at the work that someone said to you, "I've just changed the label. I swear to God, I only changed the label, only change it, only in production, only manually." So now you will be able to prove, to be a little bit of Sherlock Holmes, that that's not true. Thank you. All right. So once, while it is generating, so also I wanted to show you the packages. Like for each and every part of metadata, you can have the list of everything that is there. You can have all the objects. This most important object is prefecture that I wanted to show you. These, which you can see all the relationships of this object, etc. AI generated description. Packages. So even with a third-party package, it can also tell you what's its purpose and how it is used across the org. Now back to the wrong editor. Apologies. So it is generated. Now once you've done that, if you go back to your project structure, you will see a folder named docs. There you can see your metadata. There you can see your metadata in the format of mkdocs, but also in the PDF, in case you run the documentation with PDF, like that. I will close that. So I've only generated it, so it will appear in my project. Now I will try to run it to have it locally. Hopefully it will be faster. So now you can see the documentation was generated for my developers org, where I went you through the setup. I presented to you the guinea pigs, so the guinea pig talent show. So here you can see the schema for the guinea pig, the booking, their occasions, assignment, agents, etc. Now, for demo purposes, I told you I will show you how to play with it, how to customize it. First, I will try to override a prompt for assignment rules. Let's say we have this one. I will try to override the prompt. I will ask Agentforce to explain it to me like I'm 5, maybe add some emojis or something like that. For that, you will have to go to your project, find the config file, and give your prompt templates. Create a new one. The algorithm have to do that. It's also in the documentation, which looks perfectly fine. For that, you will have to create a new TXT file with a name. Okay, and post the prompt provided with your request. Okay, over here, I will tell you, I will edit it. I will ask it to analyze the assignment rules, but I will make it specific to let's say we'll do this like that. For that, I will have to delete my assignment rules documentation, so it will be regenerated. And so it will be faster and we won't wait a lot. I will make everything else false or generated. It will still stay there, cached, but I'll save ourselves some time. So it only will be automation that will be generated. Hopefully it will work. Okay. No, not okay. I've used a variable that debugs my prompts. So over here, I can see everything that's happening here. And I will again run these docs locally. Okay. Oh no, it's still the same. I will try again. I'll delete the whole folder to be sure.
Mariia?
Yes.
Amit just wrote that you should delete the cache files and told me to tell you that, whatever this means.
Yep, I've just deleted the assignment, okay. But apparently it didn't work because it's a demo, right?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, now it's working. As you can see, it's passing and debugging it. It's debugging the prompts, showing what was asked, etc. And meanwhile, I will show you how to update your docs manually. For that, you will have to go to your docs folder there and open Cache AI results. And oh yeah, I will try to delete this one too to make sure it will work again. In order to update your documentation manually, you'll have to go to your docs file, find the Cache AI results, and rename this file as to removing these ugly numbers, and simply post there any information you want. In this way, you can override your AI descriptions. Okay, and let's run it. See how it's working right now. Okay. And well, I'm not sure it is very easy, but at least it's changed, so it's working. All right, now up to updating it. As I said, we have to go to the docs file and let's say approval process. I will rename this file. We'll remove these clean numbers. And in this file, what I'll do, I will replace it all with my custom doc, doc overview. Click that, save it. Okay, I will be back again. I will delete the approval processes and I will run the documentation generation again, like that. Hopefully it will work. Okay. And if I'll be here, I will see that I have overridden this AI description with a silly message of mine. That's the second part of the demo, and the torture is almost done for me. The third one is the most interesting. So I will be back to my project. I will go to the end file and I will update the prompts language from English to German. right? I will explain and will ask it to explain my objects, and we'll see how it will work. Cleaning cache to make sure everything will work fine. A time for you to pour another drink.
So Mariia, maybe while we wait,
Yes.
there is actually a question which appeared 2 times now, one from Gazelle and one from Bianca, asking more or less the similar thing. I mean, we can generate technical documentation, and as we have seen, we can also do it for a 5-year-old one. But in addition to that, can we also use this tool to describe the business logic behind it, or, for example, generate a real user manual? Would this be possible to have a more business and user-faced documentation?
Well, you can define your template as far as I know. But mostly what are we doing here is we're taking XML documentations and passing for each file, maybe to get everything in one in one instance. It could be too much for your AI model to do that. So I'm not sure, to be honest.
Yeah, okay, so it's fine. It's okay. I mean, I'm pretty sure that everybody will play around tonight. So
Yes, yeah,
okay.
I really hope you will. And
okay. Oh wow, this is in German now.
you can check if that's correct.
Yes, it translated correctly the word Genia picto Meerschweinchen. That's absolutely
Okay.
awesome.
Perfect.
Yeah, no, it's perfect German as far as I can see. Yeah,
It sounds
wow.
also really sweet in German. How did you say
Yeah.
the guinea pig is?
Meerschweinchen.
Oh, very nice. These are names. Yep. So that's the whole demo of what we could play over here. I will be back to my presentation, and there is one last slide. Over here, you can see the link to the documentation of sfdx-hardis, and over here you can see this a QR code that links to that form where you can post your questions. And also I posted it separately in the chat somewhere on the top. If you will scroll, you will find it. So as I told you earlier, I'm trying to be as much useful as possible here today. So please leave your questions there and your contact, and I will be back to you with answers. Or you can just reach me in LinkedIn.
Wow, Maria, awesome. That's absolutely awesome. So you get a huge round of applause from me. Yeah. So and everybody is cheering you as well, I guess, even if they are muted. So first of all, thank you so much for sharing all these crazy, wonderful, amazing things with us today. Not only contributing to the project, but also presenting it. It's really amazing. I think we have seen so many things around sfdx-hardis, and this one is definitely a burner. And I'm pretty sure there's even more stuff to discover. So thank you so much. I'm more than happy.
Sorry, thank you and Bianca for inviting me here and letting me be
Sure.
here. I was alone last time I presented it. I was with Nicolas, and big thanks to him for letting me also present this tool. It's a big honor. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, of course. We are more than happy to have you here. So the form which you provided. I also pinned it in the chat, so feel free everybody to save this link for later questions. And as we have some time left, I guess, even if it's running late at your side, Mariia, there are a couple of questions which appeared. I collected them. Some of them already answered. Anusha is asking if we can host the documentation on Confluence.
Yeah. Well, yes. As I showed you, you can post it on Confluence. No, wait, sorry, not on Confluence, on Cloudflare. Apologies.
I think.
Well, if you can take it from your PDF and post it there, but so far there is no integration to the Confluence. But if you want it, you are very welcome to contribute and build it.
Yeah. I was actually already thinking about this, right? Because Confluence is widely spread, widely used. So Anusha, feel free to start a little side project and contribute to sfdx-hardis. I think, I'm pretty sure that this is possible, right? I mean, Confluence has tons of powerful APIs, and there's maybe even an easier way to, for example, add HTML files or something. So I can imagine that this works. The next question is from LP. From a trust perspective, is there any air gapping of the metadata between the orgs and the LLM, like for privacy or IP or etc.?
So you can mark you can mark certain moments as sensitive, so it won't be depicted, and you should not hard code your credentials.
Of course, that's always a bad idea. Yeah. I think what we I mean, it depends a little bit on the LLM you use, right? And I'm not sure how powerful your local machines are, but I think technically it should be possible to also use a local LLM, which runs on one of your servers or your powerful MacBook or whatever, and then potentially you're more or less safe, right? But as always, I mean, we have to handle our AI tools with care. And as Mariia mentioned several times, it depends a little bit on the requirements of the customer, if this is even allowed to share metadata, for example, with Agentforce or with OpenAPI or something. With OpenAI, they're called, right? Yeah. So this, of course, you have to clarify for yourself. Besides from that, yeah. Good. So Beach is asking, can we see an exploded view of static resources, such as files inside a zip file with static resources? Can we also document that one?
No, but I believe it's a great idea. As I said, you're welcome to contribute. I recommend this very much. And as I said, yes, idea is also very, very welcomed.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, definitely. I just had the other day, I had lots of trouble with some crazy minified JavaScript library, and it would have been very helpful if I get a documentation by a single click of a button. Okay, so Dennis is asking, is it possible to generate docs just for specific Apex classes, for example? So the other way around, not excluding something completely, but telling the system, okay, I want these 5 or 10 Apex classes to be documented.
So only one. Well, in my org, there are a lot of classes, developers org. What I did, I only retrieved the ones that I wanted to be there.
Okay.
If you have your data retrieved, it's getting described. It's not retrieved, it's not described. If that works for you.
Yeah. Okay, cool, good idea. So, and by the way, Mariia Scoopy is also answering lots of questions here in the chat right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Beach again is asking, is there support for D2, whatever this is, honestly, which isn't a browser accessible, as browser accessible friendly, but can we make nicer visuals, or is it just Mermaid? Can we just use Mermaid, or can we have other visual representations?
So the flow is being depicted in the Mermaid.js. So that's only one for now, as I know. But again, you're welcome to contribute. What I did in my clients, in my company, so I had to prepare a presentation. What I did was I copied the code, the Mermaid script that was generated by sfdx-hardis, and put that into the Miro. I needed that in the Miro. I find the app that was converting it. It didn't work super well, but I fixed it, but it still saved me a lot of time because I was not building my Miro presentation from scratch. So if you have a possibility to convert something from Mermaid to something, there are a lot of things like integrations for it, because it's quite popular, then feel free to do that. But so far it's only Mermaid.js.
Okay, yeah, but as you just mentioned, right, Mermaid is also just some code under the hood. So feel free to use another LLM, put the code there, and explain what kind of output you want to have. Okay, cool. So Ami is asking, can we add a list of filter of, say, specific objects, for example, to get documentation of? I think this is more or less the same thing we just answered, right? Or similar, maybe only for Apex classes, starting with some prefix or something.
Like you may not publish your documentation, but for example, you can generate it all, have it all in your docs folder, and then simply take from there only one, let's say in the PDF version. As you could see, it's all generated in separate files. Yeah. So maybe that approach will work for you.
Yeah, okay, cool, nice. So Martin is asking in the Q&A, since we can use different LLMs, in your experience, Mariia, which one delivers the best results for technical documentation?
Oh, I'm the bad person to answer that question. I've only worked with Agentforce, so.
Okay, so.
Scope of documenting, obviously.
Okay, I mean, yeah, well, I can say that at least for programming tasks, I work a lot, obviously, with ChatGPT, with O3 or 4.0 or whatever it is called, which gives pretty good results. I just used Cursor AI working with Gemini 2.5 Pro, I think it's called, and this one is pretty good. So potentially worth giving a try. And then someone is also just mentioning Claude, of course, right? So yeah, I mean, interesting to play around with it, right? Maybe collecting some feedback. Maybe Nicola, you can do a little poll on LinkedIn asking people about their experience with different LLMs working with this documentation tool. So good, great. So these are the questions so far. I'm taking another look into the chat. I pinned the question form on top. If there are any more questions, feel free to ask now. If I forgot some question, I'm so sorry, then ask it later in the forum. And yeah, while I wait another minute for more questions to arise, thank you so much again, Mariia, for taking the time for presenting this here. It was awesome. I really liked the Gania picks. I think Nicolas also liked them. So at least I understand now how it works. I understood the purpose of it and the idea behind it. I'm more than happy to take a look into it and to play around with it. I think I will actually include it into this sfdx-hardis monitoring, or the projects which I have with sfdx-hardis monitoring, so that it's auto-generated whenever the monitor job runs. Because I think from my point of view, this makes most sense, because then you have an updated documentation which gets automatically updated every night whenever the job runs. And I really like that. So, and when there's a new employee or someone joining the project, I can just say, hey, well, don't talk to me, have a look there. This is really nice. I really love it, really powerful. Thank you so much for presenting us today, and also for contributing, of course. Also a huge shout out to your fellow contributors. I think I've seen someone being a participant here from the ones you mentioned on one of the slides. So also very big thank you to you. It's always amazing how open source software not only brings people together, but actually creates something, some value, just because people are willing to invest their time in it without getting anything in terms of commercial, without getting any commercial thing back. But as we can see, this is not the most important thing. We actually need nice tools to get our job done and to have fun with it, right? And I think specifically this documentation part, playing around, for example, telling the AI to answer like I'm 5, this is also very fun, I guess, right? So, okay, cool.
I really hope I at least inspired you a little bit to try it on your own. And I'm happy it will be recorded, so maybe someone out of many people who assigned but didn't came, they could rewatch it.